WCLN 1170 Radio and Star Communications Channel 16 proudly present the We Should Know Show, an upbeat, informative look at people, places, and issues facing our community. This education-based analysis of issues will remain positive and informative. Now, here's your host, J.W. Simmons, as we consider closely what we should know.
Welcome back. My name is J.W. Simmons. I'm your host. The name of the show is We Should Know. We're coming to you on Star Communications TV, WCLN Radio. We air every week at 2:30 on Tuesdays with replays at 7 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday. It's always our pleasure to be welcoming to a number of folks in the community and making a significant difference in the area you live in, and not only in growth, but in quality. And the whole aspect of the word joy comes to mind when our guest is here. And Kaitlin Adkins, thank you for being here. We go back so many years when you were the Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And then you moved on to all of these other positions to take you to Dunn, North Carolina, also to circle you back later here to what we were talking off camera about. This is kind of like coming back home.
It is.
Tell us about your journey and what you've learned there. And this, I'm going to call it, for me, it would be a heavy weight to take on this responsibility.
Yes. So I was the chamber director in 2016. I started there in 2016. I left 2018, middle of 2018, and I transitioned and tried my hand at insurance. And then I just wanted to dive into the community a little bit more. Really couldn't find anything local and found a position for a communications coordinator in Dunn. So I ventured to Dunn and took that position, and I was their first full-time communications coordinator there. And when they learned of my history as a chamber director, they asked if I would be interested in being their downtown director. And of course I said yes, because I got to work with small businesses again. Absolutely. On a much smaller scale, but I got to be involved in their community. And when I had my son in 2022, I was ready to come back home. I wanted to be closer to the family on a daily basis and to be able to take my kids to preschool and now to school. And that was my reasoning for coming back. And it's been a whirlwind since. I started here at the Expo Center as the event services manager. And then when Ray Jordan left to become the economic development director, I was hired as the executive director here at the Expo Center. So I feel like the past 2 years has kind of been a whirlwind, but for the better. I'm very blessed with where I'm at now and excited with what I get to do in the community because of that position.
And I think it's interesting that it was a natural transition for you to step back in this position, because you literally had all of the experiential conditions, things that you needed to know and that you could do, that you had seen, and you'd made the contacts already. So it worked out perfect.
It did. I mean, when I started, Ray really brought me alongside of him and showed me the ropes and showed me this building. It's almost as if, and I joke with him, it's almost as if he knew that he was going to be transitioning out soon. And I'm very blessed for his guidance in that and to help me get to where I am today.
One of the things that a quote from the media, you said almost a year ago now in June, you said, "I am very excited for this opportunity." Do you still have that excitement, or have you actually seen what this is and you're going, what in the world was I thinking?
I've had my challenges the last year, JW. I mean, I think when anybody switches positions, there's always the challenge and adjustment period. And I've definitely gone through that, and I'm humble enough to say I'm still going through that, especially with the budget season coming up with the county. But I'm still very much so excited for this opportunity, because this position provides me with opportunity to do things in the community and to do things here at the Expo Center for the county, for our residents. And it's just a continuing opportunity for me. And even with the struggles of the adjustment and all the things that have been thrown my way this year, it's still something that I'm excited about.
Absolutely. And one of the things I want to get into now, and then I want to segue back to the conversation about the director of the Expo Center here. But I want to get into just one of those things, and I kind of put a little notch on it that is kind of not necessarily small by saying that, but you took over also the lead on this annual event. It's been going on now 15 years, and it's hard to grasp. But I know many folks out there, listeners, saying, what is he going to say? But it's called Alive After 5. And WWA 5 is like, wow. It is the wow word at front. Yeah. It's amazing what's happened to that in the transition and over time and where we've been and starting out, and to think the bumps that we've hit. I mean, weather alone creates issues. But let's talk about that for a minute and kind of give us an update where we are, the kinds of things that we need going forward. And this year, 2025, is going to be an outstanding year. And I think folks have become that they anticipate this. Yeah.
So 2025, that's a big year for the Alive After 5 concert series because it's our 15th year. Honestly, I'm so proud to say that we're in our 15th year because there's a lot of community events that start that don't make it to the 15th year. And I'm very proud to say that we are in our 15th year. It is still thriving. The sponsorships are continuing, and it's something the community still wants to come out and see after 15 years. And as long as that keeps coming in, we're still gonna keep moving forward with it. It's exciting to see all the families and the young children and the older adults that come and look at all of these concerts and participate in something that the community puts on. And it's just really awesome to say it's 15 years.
One of the things that interests me with Alive After 5 is that, as you said, it is a community event, and you see folks coming out with their chairs, and some of them rockers and some of them are not, but they've got young children that play. We see everything from ministers to property owners to farmers, and there's literally no charge for them to attend. They just literally coming off the street, sit down and enjoy the concert. A number of vendors out there. Let's touch on some of those vendors I know each year that show up, everything from food to beverage. Yeah,
so we, like you said, I mean, the crowd is always a joy to see. You get a little bit of everybody at the crowd. My kids love going and dancing up front with the bands and with all the other people up there dancing. And you just have a good mixture of people that attend these events. And it's really a sight to see if you're out there. And the number of people that go is also, remarkable to see. We have vendors that come out there. They're usually the ones that sponsor at, more of the top tier level, and they're out there in the heat, working, trying to promote their businesses. We have food trucks. We have, Duplin wine that comes out. I mean, we just have a number of vendors that are out there. So it's not just music. You get a little something else with it. And it's free to the public. It's a great opportunity for people to get out of the house and come out. And it's definitely family friendly. As I said, my children are out there enjoying it, and I see lots of others as well. But yeah, it's a really great evening.
It seems to me it's a good venue as well to see other people, to meet people that maybe you would not necessarily, you'd have to call to make an appointment to see. I've seen everything from medical doctors to a lot of people that run some of our major industry that come and just, they're looking an evening to relax, relate, and just kind of chill out. And they can do that without having to drive, or get a plane ticket. I mean, and this is a free event. So we're looking at what, 4 events this year? 5 events this year.
5 events this year.
Now, July is out?
July's out.
And the reason was the weather being typically the hot?
Yeah, typically July is one of the hottest months of the year, but it's also the busiest travel month of the year. So we typically skip July, and then we pick back up in August, and we go through October.
So when we look at that schedule, that puts you into October, which is kind of the brink, should I say, of autumn. So that's a wonderful time to say, hey, we got an event going, because the weather starts changing a little bit.
Not to be biased, but May and October are probably my favorite ones.
Yeah.
I mean, you have super hot months where we're out there working live after 5, and that's never stopped the crowds before.
Absolutely.
And when you were talking about the networking, it's funny because this year, as my first year as kind of managing the committee and the series, I've almost, with all my sponsors that I've reached out to, said I look forward to networking with you at these events, because that's what we do for our sponsors, is an opportunity to network with other businesses at the sponsor reception. But it doesn't just end there. Then they spill out into the crowd, and there's all of these prime business owners and leaders in our community that also get out in the public, and it's a chance for the public to see them, to relate to them, and it's a really good opportunity for businesses.
It seems like over the years I've noticed there's more and more of those folks that you just alluded to that are key business owners and large corp owners that have, started surfacing. And of course, I always enjoy talking to them because some of them I'm trying to get on the show, so it's been kind of tough. But it's good to be able to do that in just kind of a social, relaxed environment and find out some of the challenges they're facing. Because as your experience in business as executive trainer, Chamber of Commerce, some of those challenges. You've heard some of this before. And over time, a lot of that's going to change. But it's particularly important, I think, now in 2025. When we come back from this break, I'd like to kind of get your thoughts on where we are with that and still kind of maintain, because we still got a lot of stuff to talk about with Live After 5. But I want to kind of fold that in. One of the things I'm hearing from business is that folks oftentimes maybe not know they're there. Whether it's a ladies' clothing store downtown, or whether it's a coffee shop, or even whether it's an art boutique or something. I didn't know that was there. So I almost feel responsible, and I know it's part of STAR and WCLN Radio to make sure people are aware of this, because that's what we like to do is talk about the good stuff. Is talk about the great things that's going on. And you did a great job with that with the chamber. So when we come back from the break here, let's kind of get into that a little bit, and then we will come back and circle back with Live After 5. And maybe that'll blend folks. So if they're listening to us on the radio and driving down the road, and say, well, let's leave it on that channel a minute. I want to hear a little bit about what they're going to talk about coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're talking with Kaitlin Adkins about what's going on in Clinton, and particularly Live After 5, how to impact you, what kind of timing schedule you need to make sure you're there on time when the band kicks off. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome to Cork and Brew Roseboro, where you can enjoy your favorite coffee, fraps, smoothies, bakery items, sandwiches, and select beer and wines while reconnecting with friends and family. Sit down and enjoy the experience. Come on by and give us a try.
How can your friend save you money? It's easy. Refer a relative, coworker, neighbor, or friend to Star Communications. Friend signs up for high-speed internet service. Friend's new account is confirmed. Friend gives your name to our service representative as the one who referred them to Star. You receive a $30 internet credit. It's just that simple. And even better, receive a $30 internet credit for every referral that results in a new confirmed account. High-speed internet from Star Communications. Refer a friend today.
At the Reedy Mark, we take pride in a unique, distinguished customer experience. We specialize in handcrafted cocktails, allocated bourbons, as well as gourmet signature food items exclusive to our menu at the Reedy Mark in Roseboro.
Looking for training that leads to a high-demand, high-paying career? Bladen Community College can help you get there. Enroll in our welding program and gain the skills and expertise needed to excel in the industry and secure a successful future. Explore our HVAC program, where you will learn to install and service energy-efficient systems to keep homes and businesses comfortable year-round. Learn more at bladencc.edu or give us a call to get started today.
The average American household has 17 devices connected to the internet. With more and more devices able to get online, you may need to increase your internet speed. Call Star Communications today and let us help you select the package that's right for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We Should Know It's on there. We're talking today with a young lady that has experience in a number of positions here. And as the host of this show, I want you to know that oftentimes what we learn more from is as much from people's experience as we do from the academics. And so, Kaitlin Adkins, I look at you and I think, well, it's one thing, you've got academic credentials, but the other thing, you've done enough things in the community here. You've also been to Dunn, as you pointed out in the first part of the show here. And also, when I think about your position here as the executive director of the chamber, there seems to be a kind of a parallel between that and what you're doing now with the Expo Center, simply because a lot of the people you're communicating with is some of those same people that are business people.
Oh, yeah. We get a lot of the same business owners coming to rent the facility here that I already have relationships with. We use Party Perfect quite a bit, which is a small business here, and I use them several times at the chamber. But especially with Alive After 5 in our Class Act series, I'm reaching out to those same businesses to support those two main programs that we put on here at the Expo Center. It's talking to those same businesses, building those same relationships, and it correlates a lot with what I did at the chamber. And I think that my experience there has helped me speak to those businesses in a way that makes sense to them to want to sponsor these things and the benefits that they get from it.
I wanted to get that in, and then I want to circle back to this year and the 5 bands that's coming up. And I know I want to get that in, and we may circle back again and mention some things. But it's important for folks to reach out to you if they've got any questions or if they've got any suggestions and that kind of thing. But let's go over those bands. I think it's important for folks to understand, because one of the things that you have done this year, and the committee I think is important, you've kind of changed some of the bands. You got some different bands, and I've heard folks already, it's kind of excited about that. So let's start out with May. And it's the 4th Thursday, correct?
It is actually going to be the 3rd Thursday this year. And we did move it up. It's typically the 4th, but that fell on the week before Memorial Weekend. So we thought we would get better attendance if we moved it up. So it'll be May 15th, Thursday, May 15th. Our first band up is River Mist. They are not local to Sampson County, but local to the Fayetteville area. They are very well known in that region and across North Carolina. They were voted number 9. They were voted 9 years in a row the number 1 band in Fayetteville. Wow. And as large as that area is, I'm excited to bring them here to Sampson County. The state of Fayetteville likes it. It's got to be good, right? Exactly. So they give you a little bit of everything. They like to call themselves a variety band. They do R&B. They do classic rock, and they even promote themselves as a party band. So I think we'll get a good variety with them, but it will be a little bit different than some typical beach music that we've brought in the past. But that'll be a good variety to start off there. And then we'll move into June 26th. That is the Carl Newton Review. A lot of people are familiar with them. They were just here New Year's Eve and performed for our New Year's Eve event that we had here at the Expo Center, but they are very popular. So we're bringing them back to do the Live After 5 on June 26th. You're going to get a little bit of everything from them as well. You're going to get some Motown, some R&B, even a little country, they say. So we're excited to have Carl Newton Review back here in Sampson County. And then, like we talked about, we skip July and then we move on to August. August is going to be, that band's going to definitely be different than what we've had in the past. I have actually had a lot of calls that have asked me about this band in particular. We've never had this band. And they are called the Mustache Band. And the name, I think, in itself is intriguing to people, which I hope will bring some people out. But they are a 90s country band. And who doesn't love 90s country?
Well, and a lot of folks have asked about why don't we have country. So this is really the genre that folks have asked about. So now you're putting it out there. So they need to listen carefully and be there.
We do. We have a lot of people that ask about country. And I know we've brought a band in the past that was a Zac Brown cover And while they were great, it kind of narrowed it down to just one country band, and this broadens the horizon. And they play multitudes of different hit songs from the 90s, and it's going to be good. I mean, they're a very big party band. They get the crowd involved. I have even heard that they pass out little mustaches to the audience.
They do. Absolutely.
So we're excited to have them. That's going to be kind of our big 15th year celebration band. So we're excited to have them.
And that's a group that we kind of wanted to target, I think we talked about before, to get more interest from that particular group of people.
Yes, they are out of Mississippi, so they will be doing some traveling to get here. So we're excited to have that.
That's a big deal.
That is a big deal, and it's going to be on Thursday, August 14th. Yes, Thursday, August 14th.
So go ahead and put that on your calendar.
Please put that on your calendar because they're new, they're not from this area, and we really want to show them a big Sampson County welcome. So we're excited to have them. And then in September 11th, we will have the Band of Oz, which most people are familiar with. We'll have them on September 11th, and we are looking forward to having them. That's one of our bigger turnouts of the season, so that was a must to bring back. And then we will round out the season on October 23rd with Jim Quick and Coastline.
Another big deal.
Another big deal.
Folks, a huge following.
Another big deal. We thought that would be a good one to end the season with a big bang and a huge following. So for our 15th season, I'm excited for our lineup, and we really hope that you can come out and look at these different bands.
Absolutely. And I think the thing that strikes me as you went through all of those is every one of these bands usually have a huge following.
They
so
do.
I would encourage people to, try to get there early, if you want to sit down front, kind of get a good seat or what have you.
Yes,
obviously you're bringing your seat with you, but so you can set up front and you got plenty of room too.
Yes. Bring your seat with you. We do have a DJ that starts at 5:15. So there's still music to be listened to before the band starts. And of course our vendors are already out there and set up, and our concessions is already out there and set up. And then the concert starts at 6 and it goes till 8:45. So you get, a good 2.5 hours of some good music.
And I think when you look at the time of the year, as the sun sets a little bit later, you still got daylight. It still has that family environment. Folks can get in and out. For people that, maybe, I don't know, we've seen people out there in wheelchairs. We've seen people out there in all kinds of situations. So it is good. It is family friendly. It's safe. It's something that we've never, over going on 15 years, to my knowledge, never had any issues with. It's got that same small town environment feeling. It
does. We're very thankful for the city of Clinton that provides the police officers there for everybody's protection. They always have the fire department on call if anything goes wrong, but we're very thankful for them for coming out and being there to make sure everybody's safe and that it can continue to be a family friendly event. And, like you said, most of our season, it's pretty much still light up until the very end of the concert. So it's safe to get back to your cars at the end of the night, and it's a good time for everybody to come out.
When you look at this particular event, and you obviously know what it takes to put it together, and someone may be listening or watching and say, well, the county is funding it or the city is funding it. This is funded by the business community and corporate community in this county, particularly. Some maybe even out of the county, but a lot of those people that do that, there's various levels, and I want to make sure I think you want to mention some of those. That's great.
Yes.
But I want to make sure folks understand that oftentimes there's a whole huge list of not companies, but just individuals. That it's doesn't cost as much, but they're willing to donate. Just people, and I know some of those people on that list. I mean, they're retired, and so they say, "Hey, I'm just here. You go." Yeah,
most of we have. Okay, so I'll go over our levels because I want to talk about the individuals that do it. So we have a bronze level. We start at the bronze level, and that's a $250 level. Then we go to our silver sponsors, which is a $500 level. We bump that up to our gold sponsors, which is $1,000, and then we have our $2,500. That is our platinum. And because our lowest level is $250, that's where most of our individuals will join because they want to be out there and they want to be in the mix of all of these business people. And we probably have 7 or 8 individuals that join at the $250 level. And that's how you know you get the biggest bang for your buck as being a sponsor for this. Is because you have people that have retired or that are even still working that want to join at that 250 level because it's worth that for them. So we're very fortunate to have that. And
we thank them a lot for being part of that. I know
we do. And they come and they have a great time and they sponsor year after year, even just being individuals. So that's money out of their own pocket and not a business. And I think that speaks volumes as to what we can offer for our Live After 5 sponsorships, because it's not funded through the city. It's not funded through the county. The money runs through the Arts Council, but this whole event has solely been based off of sponsorships.
And I think you would agree that over the period of the years that it's been going on is the support of the county and support of the city by, working with us, like you mentioned, in security and safety and those kinds of things has been tremendous as well, because that a lot of times with everything that's going on in our society now, folks want to make sure if I go with my kids or if I go out for evening, I just want to make sure I'm safe. And I think for the most part, what I've heard is people feel safe. Yeah,
I think so too. I mean, I don't want to take it as far as to where we are in the world now and the things that people are afraid of, but I do want to say that it's a safe, family-friendly event, has been for 15 years, strive for it to be and continue to be for the next 15 years. So it's something we're thankful for. We're thankful for the city, but we are also thankful for their public works department and the county's public works department that helps get everything up at night. They're there kind of towards the end and they're looking at everything, making sure everybody's there and safe. And it's absolutely a team effort.
I want to take a little time when we come back from this break to continue the discussion about the sponsors, because to me, it's critically important for those folks to be recognized and to include our vendors as well, because they are actually the seed and the cash asset value, if you put it at that point, I think is to make that difference happen. So when we come back from this break, we'll continue that discussion. And also there's a lot of stuff I know you want to add in about Live After 5 that you're looking at this year as well. So ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment. And again, this is We Should Know, and we're talking with Kaitlin Adkins, who is the director of the Expo Center and also the leader here for the Live After 5 program. We'll be back in a moment.
At Fisher's, it's not just about fashion. It's about exceptional service. Experience top-notch customer care and find your perfect look. Visit Fisher's today and feel the difference. Looking to refresh your home? At Clinton Appliance and Furniture, we've got everything you need to create the perfect space. We're here to help make your house a home with stylish furniture, appliances, flooring, design services, delivery, and repair. Visit ClintonAppliance.com to explore our selection or visit us at 401 Northeast Boulevard in Clinton. Shop local. Shop smart. Shop Clinton Appliance and Furniture.
Experiencing slow internet? If you have a fast internet package, the problem is most likely your wireless router. With more devices using Wi-Fi, your wireless router may not be able to deliver the speed and coverage you need. We now have the leading solution to enhance your internet experience. Using small devices in a mesh network, these Wi-Fi appliances cover just about any size home so that all your devices can operate to their fullest potential. Whole home Wi-Fi from Star Communications. Get the most out of your internet connection.
If you run a business, you need sales. To get sales, you need customers. To get customers, you need exposure. Let our team of experts craft and produce the perfect video ad to reach your intended audience while making the most of your advertising dollars. Call 1-800-706-6538 or visit starcom.net to contact our Star Communications production team and get your business moving to the next level.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. J.W. Simmons here. The name of the show is We Should Know. I want to thank you for being with us today. We're talking with Kaitlin Adkins. Kaitlin is director of the Expo Center. We've talked a bit about your background and expertise in a number of areas. And one of the things we're talking about now is one of those particular areas that you have taken the reins of, as if you didn't have reins already. You're kind of driving that whole program, is the Live After 5 event.
Yes.
For folks out there, now is the time to engage. Now is the time to put it on your calendar. They can go online and pull this up.
Yes.
They can see some of the things that we talked about today.
Yes.
You have it scripted. It's easy access, your phone, your computer, what have you.
Yes.
But I think it's important, and I agree with you, to mention some of what is often referred to as the key sponsors.
Yes.
And these are the folks that step up, and they're really companies and organizations that are leaders in our community.
Yes.
I want you to touch on some of those.
Okay, so we do have some of our larger sponsors, the 2,500 sponsors, our media sponsors that help really push this event out to the community. And I do want to add, before I do that, we were talking about the online presence. We do have a Facebook page. It's Alive After 5 Clinton NC. And our website is also aliveafter5clintonnc.com. So you can go to either of those and check out the upcoming events that we've got going on for this season. You will also see a list of all of our sponsors on our website, but I did want to mention a few of our larger sponsors. And we've got Azell's Catering, and their food truck also comes out, which is something good. I know a lot of people are familiar with that, but they're also out there at the event. We've got the Sampson Independent and the Sampson Weekly, who really do a tremendous job helping us push out the series and put it in the paper and trying to reach everybody locally and non-locally about our event. We have Dubose Trapping, Sampson Community College, Star Communications, and JW's We Should Know.
Absolutely.
And we're very thankful for them. We've got Boogie Shoes Radio Network. We've got the Sampson Arts Council, of course, the County of Sampson, the City of Clinton. We've got Rib Eyes this year, which is a new big sponsor. They will be sponsoring one of our sponsor receptions. So you'll get to enjoy, if you're a sponsor, you'll get to enjoy some Rib Eyes Steakhouse, which is local to Sampson County.
Absolutely.
So we're excited about that. Party Perfect Rentals, they're a big sponsor. They bring out all the tables, linens, and everything for our sponsor reception. So we're very thankful for them. We've got the Fun Time Oldies, Minuteman Press, who does all of our printing for the signs, the billboards, and then this year, for the first time, they will be doing our Live After 5 T-shirts. We wanted to support more local, and so they will be doing our Live After 5 T-shirts, so we're excited about that. And I think that covers all of our large sponsors, and we are very thankful for them because of the time that they also dedicate to this, not only financially, but coming as vendors to most all of our shows, and then providing things like the media and food and just all of that good stuff.
I think it's important when I look at that, and I'm try to give us and those folks listening and watching kind of a visual, because you see a number of the people you mentioned with booths that literally outline the area, the city market in Clinton on Lisbon Street. Under the city market, the building there that's open, there's a little gateway you come in. If you're a sponsor, or if you wanted the paid folks to come, you get a pass, you go in there, and there's a reception in there. You can hang out in there, and beverage and all kinds of foods. And Izell does such a wonderful job with that. You know, if nothing else, it's worth it just to come out and hang out for a few minutes and snack with people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That is, I'll dive into, I mean, I broke down the sponsor levels earlier, but there's so much that you get out of being a sponsor. And the sponsor reception to me is probably one of the biggest things, because again, it goes back to the networking that you're able to do with all of these other key businesses and small businesses in our community. So you get, depending on your level, you get a certain amount of tickets to the sponsor reception. You get a parking pass where there's close parking to their sponsor reception and to the Live After 5 concert series. You get T-shirts, you get names and signage on billboards that are posted all throughout the county. We do shout outs on Facebook. We put it on our website. There's just numerous amount of benefits. And you also get, depending on your level, you get to be a vendor at one of the Live After 5 concert series, and some get to be a vendor at all of the Live After 5 concert series. So.
One of the things that strikes me is you're going through that list, and some of the things you just said then, it seems like the word that keeps surfacing for me is opportunities.
Yes.
You have, as a business person, as an individual, multiple opportunities, which is just in front of you, and you're not doing this online. It's that human interaction, which, Kaitlin, I just feel like we're missing that. And I know I come from a generation that we didn't have it, but now I just think it's so important that we get back to better understanding people by talking to them.
Absolutely. And the sponsor reception really gives you that. If you've never been, the city market, it's a large area. It's beautiful, but it's also close knit. So you are definitely making those contacts while you're there at the sponsor reception. It's a really good opportunity if there's somebody you've been wanting to talk to or see or just put your face in front of. Absolutely. It's a really good opportunity there. I say out of everything that I try to help raise money for, this is probably the easiest, simply because the benefits that the sponsors get is more tangible than a lot of other sponsorships. There's a lot of things that are really great for the community, but this is something they can put their hands on too, and really get a lot of benefit out of it. So, it's something that most small businesses, I hope, would consider being a sponsor because of what you get from it.
Well, and one of the things that strikes me too in this conversation, if you're watching the show today or listening, I think what Kaitlin is saying to you, whether you're 35, whether you're 6, whether you're 65, whether you're 100, that there's something here that's for you, that you can come out. If somebody's got an issue, says, well, I don't feel like I can walk that far, I can't do that, we can help them, get them out. There's all kinds we've had people come and, actually push them in wheelchairs or what have you, but they're getting out. It's a way to locally say, the Live After 5 committee is opening the door for you.
Yes, exactly. And we are excited to do that. And these businesses, I think, really see the value because we do have a lot of the same businesses year after year. And it's like I tell people, if you join it, even at the 250 level, you're essentially getting 5 sponsor receptions full of food that you probably wouldn't be able to get if you were just sitting at your home cooking supper.
Oh, absolutely.
So I tell people between that and the advertisement and the networking opportunities and then, the T-shirts and all of that, it's definitely a good bang for your buck.
And I'm just circle back to another thing that you mentioned, what just struck me is so critically important. One of the things that you've heard and we've heard over the years is that we need to have different genres of music. And this year you're talking about that country music part that how many times has people reached out to you? I'm sure it's a lot that said, look, why don't you have some country music? I mean, we're in a rural landscape here and a lot of folks listen to country music. You're kind of taking care of that appetite.
Oh, absolutely. We have a large fan base for country music. We have a large fan base for beach music as well. I get all sorts of different requests and I'm always happy to listen to them. I'm definitely open for tribute bands of any sort. It's always worth trying at least once. It's hard to please everybody, which I have found, but I think because we do 5 concerts, there's definitely opportunity to try, different types of genres that might be popular or may appeal to the younger audience as opposed to the older audience. And maybe that concert's where we have the more younger audience out. But I will say in truthfulness that we have a good mixture of young and older audiences at most all of our concerts.
Yeah, I agree. And I think one of the things that leads me to is a question for you is when you look at your committee and you see the makeup of that committee for folks that might be interested in being part of that committee. Tell us how they get involved.
Yes. Call me, email me. We are always looking for new, energetic committee members that are wanting to get involved in the community, that are connected with these small businesses that can help raise the funds for it, but also can really help before and after the show. I mean, those are a lot of behind the scene things that a lot of people don't see, and that's where our committee steps in. People see the committee members there. We wear our shirts loud and proud, but there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes too that we need as much help as we can get. So we are always looking new committee members. Would love to have some younger ones, some more energetic ones that might be coming back to the area fresh with families that want to get involved in the community. Those are really who we're looking for, anybody really willing to help.
One of the things that you just mentioned that led me to a thought as well. We talked about in economic development just the other day, the importance of keeping our young folks or young folks coming back to Sampson County after education and that kind of thing. This is a perfect example of how they can be involved, how they can find a good family safe event, a good family event that is they don't mind taking their children to. Again, I think that's something that you've mentioned in the past that we've talked about.
It is. And I mentioned it to you before we started talking, but that's why I do what I do, JW. That's why I think a lot of people do what they do on this committee and with other community events, because I look at myself and my children, and I grew up in a family that all lived here. Most of us all on the same road. I mean, we were a very close-knit family, and I want that for my future and for my children as well. And so I do things like this that get the community involved, that are good community events that people can come to year after year, and just new and exciting things to bring that younger generation, because I selfishly want my children to come back, and I want to be right down the road for my grandchildren one day, and events like this help make that happen. So that's why I'm as invested in this as I am, because I want those things for myself.
One of the things I want to circle back to as when we come back from break is to kind of get into that world a little bit, because it's just interesting. And again, we're fortunate to have you, because you've got your foot in the door here at this huge operation as director of Expo Center, but at the same time, you draw a parallel with business and business development, because you know that world explicitly. I want to talk about how that bonds and the importance of bringing that together.
Absolutely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in a moment. We're coming up on the last part of the show. Again, live after 5. Go ahead and put those dates down. If you need more information, contact Kaitlin Adkins here at the Expo Center. We'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
Providing fewer commutes, more backyard offices, and crystal clear meetings. Providing less, you froze up, and more presence in your presentations. Providing a better internet experience. Providing possible.
We find in life that some things just go together. Like peanut butter and jelly, cheese and crackers, steak and potatoes, and of course, milk and cookies. But the bottle and the throttle are never a good combination. Be smart. Be safe. Be responsible. Don't drink and drive.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're coming up on the last part of the show today. The name of the show is We Should Know, and I'm J.W. Simmons, your host. Our guest today is Kaitlin Adkins. Kaitlin, you're the director of something called the Expo Center.
Yes.
You stepped into that role as we talked about at the beginning of the show, so I'm going to circle back and kind of pick everybody up. This is the kind of thing that it was almost like you were geared to do. You've had all these other experiences we talked about, to include being the executive director of Chamber, to include being the director of operations for Dunn Downtown, making Dunn, North Carolina grow. But now in this position as the Expo Center director, and I want to remind folks, and you can too, please, to reach out to you regards to Live After 5, things about that. Looking at the committee, particularly, I want to encourage people to reach out to you if they're interested in being on that committee. We need you. Is that a good statement?
Absolutely.
So, but for the last part of the show, I want to kind of give you the opportunity to talk about the Expo Center and what a critical asset it is for Sampson County and surrounding counties.
Absolutely. We are unique in Sampson County. We're unique for surrounding counties as well. Our facility is very versatile in that it can fit as many as 1,000 people for a large performance, or we have enough rooms where it can have a small gathering of 40. But we are the venue if you are in that 250 to 450 range for events, especially weddings, or we get quinceañeras, we get banquets, we get a variety of things. And the community needs somewhere like that because it's affordable, we're flexible, and like I said, I mean, just very versatile in the needs of the community. I just don't know another venue that can incorporate all of those things for our citizens.
I think one of the things that strikes me, and we've had some of these conversations off camera, but the facility itself tends to attract people to this area. You've even had events here, regional events that, and when you look at our proximity to other counties, and if you just simply take a quick look at that map, if it's a large company or an industry or even somebody like Star Communications, perfect venue for them bringing people in because their membership covers multiple counties.
Yeah, I mean, we bring in all sorts of people, not just from Sampson County, but from other areas of North Carolina, the United States even. That benefits us, but it benefits other people in the community. It benefits the Visitors Bureau by putting heads in beds. It benefits the businesses by people having weekend trips here for an event that's held here, by going to get a coffee at Simply Brewed, or by shopping at Rebecca's, or some of these smaller businesses. And that's, you know, we really strive to bring the people that are here to get them also out into the community as well. And it really helps having the Chamber and the Visitors Bureau here so they can help in that aspect too. But yeah, I mean, we are the facility that brings people from all over to Sampson County because of what we can accommodate here.
One of the things that strikes me too is that you pretty much do a lot of things here that goes further or beyond sometimes expectation. People are like, wow, you furnish that as well. And whether it's the full kitchen you have, or whether it's access to caterers that can handle large crowds, even to some of the technology pieces that folks are looking for.
Yeah. Now, the biggest question we probably get when people call and ask about our rates for this facility is, does it include the tables and chairs? And it does. A lot of venues don't. They charge per chair and they charge per table. We've looked at doing that, but all in all, we've just kept it to that inclusive, you know, facility rent. We haven't charged tables and chairs, and that is probably our largest selling point for people, is that your tables and chairs are included. We're not going to charge you extra $2,000 on top of the rent for the facility for your tables and chairs. We do have state-of-the-art kitchens. We do have state-of-the-art technology for people to be able to use, but you know, there are prices for those, but very insignificant prices compared to, you know, other areas that have venues of this sort. But we are very competitive in that sense, and that's something that people look for.
And in this facility, also you mentioned a couple of other areas. One of them is the Chamber, Clinton Sampson Chamber of Commerce is located here, as well as the Visitors Bureau. That's critically important because oftentimes they overlap in a lot of things they're trying to accomplish.
I think we all overlap with each other, and that is unique to find in an office setting where you can come to one place and get it for 3 people. So it's like buy one, get 3 free. That's what I like to tell people. You can make your stop here and you can talk to 3 different businesses all in one setting. But we feed off of each other and ideas for the community, and we try to support each other as much as we can with any events that we've got going on, as well as the Chamber and the Visitors Bureau. We try to support each other, and really, JW, that's really what it's about. I don't think a community thrives unless everybody that's trying to do good can collaborate together and to really get along and to support one another. I
think one of the things too is, as I look at the relationship you have with the Arts Council and Cara Donatelli, which is doing a wonderful job from my perspective.
And a newly appointed board member. Myself of the Arts Council. So.
Absolutely. So that's part of a vibrant community that just seems to me oftentimes we overlook and folks anticipate. And if you look at it, for example, just take a flash to Raleigh, North Carolina. I mean, somebody says, well, it's growing, it's unbelievable. Well, it is, but look at the venues they have downtown. I mean, it's constant. It's bringing in that 20, 30, 40 population of folks.
Yeah.
The graying community is still there. You know, we're still there.
Yeah.
But the reality is we've got to have that energy. It's not a matter of whether we need it. We've got to have it.
You have to have the next generation coming back here if you want your community to really thrive and really survive. I mean, you've got the taxpayers that you need that next generation of the taxpayers and all of those to come back to the community, to have families in the community, support the community like things with Alive After 5. That's really what you need. And all of these small organizations, the Arts Council, downtown Clinton, you've got, the CVB, the Chamber, us. I mean, you've got recreation. I mean, you've just got so many of those things that really adhere to the culture of your community and that really set the tone for that next generation to come back here. And I'm not saying we need to be like Raleigh or Clayton or any of those areas up there, but we need to kind of piggyback off of things that they are doing and make this community more self-sustainable for generations to come. Those
personal growth issues that you just mentioned strikes me as very important because I look at Avery LeClaire, who is the executive director of the chamber here, young, vibrant, just a outstanding person, and you think, wow, and we're talking about almost specifically looking at that core group. Population, give or take 5 or 10 years, that's why we've got to have people that are planning now for like 20 years out.
Absolutely.
We can plan all day, for what's going to happen tomorrow or 5 years, but now 10, 20 years out, this is going to be a landscape that's going to be hugely desirable because everything else is going to be crawling over each other.
Absolutely. One thing, and I'll touch back to Dunn, that we did while I was there was a 20-year strategic plan. It was my first time being involved in a strategic plan like that, but it's definitely something that I think that Clinton, Sampson County, one of them needs to take on the responsibility to do. And I will say a partnership. That's what they did and done because those things are costly, but it's also going to give you the community's input as to what they want to see here in the next 20 years. And I'll be honest, I think most people would be really surprised as to what is put down on paper as to what people want to see here over the next 20 years. But it's something that I think is needed. And that can be partnerships between the chamber, the Visitors Bureau, the county, the city. But we've got to figure out exactly what it is that our citizens want. And I think that when we find that the next generation will come.
I sit here and listen to you. It just struck me as I'm listening to you. You and your husband both very successful business people. You've decided, as you mentioned in the beginning of the show, to come back here to have this environment for your child to be here. That said, to me, says it all. If we create that environment, if we sustain that environment, folks are going to continue to come. But if we ever cut that off, I'm afraid we're going to start losing people.
We will. And it's something that I grew up here. My husband grew up in Newton Grove. We both came from large families. But we both, I think, knew in the long run that we wanted to come back and raise our family here. And so we're doing that, and we're looking at any and all aspects to stay here and local and raise a family that wants to do the same. And that's, I think, I speak for myself, but that's our goal. And I have a feeling that's probably the goal of most people our age.
Absolutely. Schools, recreation, entertainment, just the joy of being together is critically important. We got about a minute left. I want to just give you that opportunity for anything that we might have missed, because you and I get together, we talk a lot about a lot of things. I just don't want to miss anything. So
absolutely. Well, I'm wearing two hats on this episode today. I'm the chair of the Alive After 5 committee. I'm also the director of the Expo Center, and it's just versatile being a county employee and doing something that we're coming together to do good for the community. And that is why I am here. I want to run this facility to the best of its ability, and I also want to give back into the community for things for people and families to do. And that is going to be my motto as I'm the director here at the Expo Center, is to offer those opportunities for families, old and young, to be able to have that in this community.
Well, I want to thank you for being here. Also, I want to thank you for circling back to Clinton and getting back involved in this. This is a thing that it seems to me that you're helping build a continued base, not only for your future, but your children's future. And if we probably ask that question to our listeners and viewers, they would say, keep up the good work. But you've got to have people to support you as well.
Absolutely.
You and Avery both have got to have people to support you well in making sure that happens. So again, you're welcome back anytime on this show. Always great to have you. Always walk away with thinking we could do a semester if we needed to. So thank you again for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. We look forward to seeing you again next week, and may God bless.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of We Should Know with host J.W. Simmons. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion regarding this or any episode, please send your emails to weshouldknowedu@gmail.com. And remember to tune in every Tuesday at 2:30 for another informative episode of We Should Know.